180 years to be built. They start to build this temple at 237 BC, and the construction it was ended on 57 BC. The temple also, it had been covered by the sands for 1,300 years. Because of this reason, it's considered to be one of the most well-preserved temples. Look at those houses on the right side. All these houses supposed to be expanded until it's going to be upon the temple itself. Until 1860, when the French archaeologist Marius Pasha, he succeeded to reach to Edfou in order to rediscovering the whole temple. While he reached here, he found only 6 meters appeared from those towers, because those towers considered to be 30 meters high. So could you imagine that 24 meters was buried under the sands? And here also we were referring to the ruins of the mud brick city, which had been used or dedicated for the priesthood as a priesthood city outside the temple, because this is the first time you will see a ruins for the priesthood city, because it's not logic that they're going to cook inside the temple, they're going to use the toilets inside the temple. They must have their own cities outside. And you will see that it was built by using the mud brick. And here we will answer an important comment. Where is the royal palaces of the pharaohs? The royal palaces of the pharaohs, it has been erected by using the mud brick. Because of this reason, we didn't found any royal palaces until now, because the main conception of the ancient Egyptians that they believed in resurrections after death, and the whole pharaohs and the whole ancient Egyptian people, they decided in order to spend their time, their money, in order to prepare themselves for their eternal life. But they used to build their own houses, which they will use it in our normal life by using the mud brick, because they would believe that our life is going to be a short journey leading us to the eternal life. We will start our excursion inside the temple, which is considered to be, as I told you, the second greatest temple. And here also we will discuss the construction of the whole ancient Egyptian temples inside. And let's go. After that we will start our excursion inside. But I make a stop here in order of the chart of the new born, or of the new ruler, or the new Greek rulers whom is going to be controlling Upper and Lower Egypt. The story of the mummies, it had been taken from the ancient Egyptian story, which we called it the divine birth story, and you will see the basis of the divine birth story dates back to the reign of the king Amraphis III, the owner of Luxor temple. But the famous divine birth story dates back to the reign of the first female pharaoh during the good ancient Egyptian history, Hatshepsut. After that, the Greek rulers, they start to use this story in order to preparing their sons in order to following them up on the throne of Upper and Lower Egypt. But the whole carving inside it was scratched. I'm sure that Muhammad led you to Mamizi in Philae. Did you remember the Mamizi in Philae? Behind the main tower, behind the main gate, it was located up on the left-hand side. This is the most well-preserved Mamizi in all over Egypt. And by the way, the Mamizi also considered to be the third point, or the third difference between the ancient Egyptian temples and the Greco-Roman temples. We were referring inside to the capitals, or the ground of the column. And we saw the Nile meter in Komombo. And Mamizi, this is the third point. And the fourth point, we will discuss it now after 2 minutes. The carving upon the pylon. Come closer inside. Here you will see, as I told you, the second great facade or pylon in all over Egypt, because the greatest one located in front of Karnak temples, and it's 40 meters high, but this one here it's 30 meters high. And you will see the representation imitating the same representation which you saw in Philae temple, if you remember. The carving here is going to be repeated over there, but the only difference that you will see the king here on the left tower wearing the red crown, but over there he wearing the white crown. We will catch the carving on the left tower because it's nearly in front of you. You will see the king's bottom mice is going to offering the statue of the goddess Mad, a woman sitting and the feather, ostrich feather up on her head. Why we will see that the whole rulers since the beginning of the dynastic period until the end of the Roman period, they offering the statue of the goddess Nile. In order to tell the gods that the confusion period which happened as a result for the death of his former king, it's ended, and he succeeded to control Upper and Lower Egypt, and he promising the gods that he will ruling Upper and Lower Egypt by the justice of the goddess Mat, or by the rules of the goddess Mat, the goddess of the gods. After that, you will see the king offering the statue in front of the god Horus-Apollo, behind him the goddess Mat herself, the goddess of justice, and after that Horus-Apollo, which means Horus, the lord of the two lands, the son of the god Horus-Apollo here, because the local family here consisted from the god Horus-Apollo, the legendary son for Isis and Osiris, and his wife Hathor, and the child Horus-Apollo. Behind Horus-Apollo, you will see that Horus the Younger, the son of the good god in Mambo temple, and after that the god Tot, the god of wisdom and scientist, with his famous face looks like the bird ibis, and finally a representation for the goddess Mat with the two phasers again, and behind them you will see the king standing, and he offering two crowns, the white crown on his right hand and the red crown upon his left hand, in front of the holy family of this district, which consisted from the god Horus-Apollo. Here on the left tower from the right part on the top, in front of the god Horus-Apollo, and behind him his wife Hathor and the child Horus-Apollo. Below to them you will see the king offering two cobra snakes in front of the god Horus and his mother Isis. What is the difference between his mother and his wife? Only small symbol. Recognize Isis from Hathor. If you concentrate, they are yes, the chair above the solar disk. I'm going to rewarding you. It's 50 piastres. Half pound. Exactly. The chair, when we will see the chair, by the way, above the solar disk, this is the representation of the goddess Isis, because if you remember in Kumambo, we discussed her name. It was a chair, half circle, and the solar disk when we stopped in front of the representation of the goddess Sekhmet, and I told you this is Isis from the inscriptions upon the walls of Kumambo. After that, you will see also the king is going to be submitting some enemies, collecting some enemies, and submitting them in front of the god Horus and his wife, the goddess Hathor. But here, by the way, as I told you, this is the fourth point, or the fourth difference between the Greek-Roman temples and ancient Egyptian temples. You will see that the Greek rulers, they had an opportunity to portray themselves in their great battles or their great wars. Why? Because they were invaded rulers. If they succeed to portray themselves in their great battles, who will be the enemies themselves is going to be the Egyptians. But in your excursion to Luxor temple, you will see that the king Ramses II, he had the opportunity to portray himself in his great battle, Kadesh War, which you discussed it with more details in Abu Simbel, if you remember. He portrayed himself riding his chariot war, and he's going to attack the enemies. And this is the last point and the last difference. Why the Greek-Roman rulers, he didn't succeed in order to portray themselves in their great battles? As we mentioned, because who will be the enemies? The Egyptians themselves. And after that, while we will discuss the construction of the ancient Egyptian temple, we will see, as I told you this morning, that the whole ceiling of the temple going lower like this, and the floor going higher like this. So the whole temple looks like a pyramid shape. But the ancient Egyptian people dividing the whole temples into 5 main places. The first one, the outer courtyard or outer court, which we are standing now, it had been dedicated for the commoners. It wasn't allowed for the commoners in order to pass the main gate of the temple. After that, you will see the inner court behind the main entrance, dedicated for the nobles. And after that, you will see a hypostyle hall. What is the meaning of a hypostyle hall? It's a hall including 10 or 12 columns, except the hypostyle hall of Karnak and Luxor, because in Karnak you will see 134 columns, and in Luxor you will see 62 columns. Why except those two temples exactly? Because Karnak considered to be the temple of the god Amun-Re, the highest god, and Luxor considered to be the temple of his wife Mut, his consort Mut. So because of this reason, as I told you, the hypostyle hall consisted from 10 or 12 columns support its ceiling except in Luxor and Karnak. And the hypostyle hall, it had been dedicated for the priests, the common priests, to do their payment inside it. After that, we will reach it to the stored rooms, which we discuss the festival list in Komombo inside it. It had been dedicated for the high priest. And finally, the sanctuary, which located at the end of the temple, dedicated to carry the statue of the local god, but it wasn't allowed to any person to reach it except the king. But here we must be referring to a very important point, that it wasn't logic that the king, he will be appear on the 42 temples in the 42 districts on the same time. So the king, he must give a permission to his high priest in order to be instead of him or an agent of him to do the daily ritual in front of the statue of the local god. We will start our excursion inside. As I told you, this temple dedicated to the god Horus-Behdet, the legendary son of Isis and Osiris. This city also, it's famous by two vice versa names. It's famous by the city of the beautiful meeting, as we were referring to the beautiful meeting between the god Horus and his wife Hathor inside, and also it was famous by the city of the conflict, or the city of the revenge, because here we will see the second part of the conflict between the child Horus and his evil uncle Seth. After the evil uncle, he succeeded to kill his father twice, and the father refused to return back to our life at the second time because he get boring from his evil brother, and he chose to be the first embalmed body on the whole world, and he chose to be the guide to the whole ancient Egyptian people to the paradise. Because of this reason, the ancient Egyptian people called him the god of the paradise, or the honor of the paradise, and called the paradise that the paradise is going to be the paradise of the god Osiris. We will catch our excursion inside, but we will have a lot of sightseeing inside this temple, because as I told you, it's going to be one of the most beautiful one, and also one of the most complete temples in all over Egypt. Do you have any comments before we are going to be inside? So let's go.
برضه عاوز حته بسيطه.
As I told you outside, the names of the city, one of them called the city of the beautiful meeting. So what is the meaning of the beautiful meeting? The ancient Egyptian people imagine that their gods, they have their wives like themselves, and they have their own families also. So as we mentioned, that the holy family of this district consisted from the god Horus and his wife Hathor and the child Horus-Apollo. The god Horus considered to be the main lord of the city, but his wife Hathor considered to be the main lord of Dandara city. Dandara city located exactly 65 kilometers north from Luxor. The ancient Egyptian people chose the flood season to be the fertility season, and they choose the beginning of the second month from the flood season to celebrate by the beautiful meeting between the god Horus and his wife Hathor. At the beginning of the second month, we will see that the king and his high priest, they were walking all the way inside the sanctuary of this temple in order to carry the statue of the local god, of the god Horus, to hide it inside the festival hall. The whole gods by ancient Egyptian people, they had their own festival boats, but each boat is supposed to be started by the shape of the god and ended by his shape. But all of them sharing on the chapel, which located on the middle of the boat, to hide the statue of the local god inside it. Because, as we mentioned, it wasn't allowed to any person to have a look to the statue of the local god except the king or his high priest. And they would like to carry the statue outside the sanctuary, so it's supposed to be hidden inside this chapel. After that, they would invite the council of the priests in order to carry the sacred part upon their shoulders all the way down to the river Nile. The same ritual is supposed to be done in Dandara also at the same time. And we will see that both boats, they will start embarking from Dandara towards Luxor, from Edfou towards Luxor. And the both statues, they will meeting each other in Luxor. After that, the god Horus is going to collect with him his wife to Edfou, and they will be receiving here in Edfou by rejoicing and the big celebration, and you will see the king waiting for all of them. After that, you will see that the two council of priests for both gods, they will carry two sacred parts or two festival boats up on their shoulders, and they will carrying the two boats all the way inside the sanctuary of Edfu to give them a chance to celebrate, to enjoy each other and celebrate by the beautiful meeting, which continue for 12 days here, but in Luxor it will be continue for 24 days. After the 12 days is going to be ended, we will see that the same ritual is going to be done again. They will carry the two sacred parts all the way down to the river Nile, while a huge flat fluke boat waiting to carry both sacred parts all the way down to Luxor. And the god Horus, he must collect his wife with him all the way to Luxor. After that, he's going to leave here, completing the journey alone to Dandara, and he returned back to his own temple and his city, and both of them, they will reach it on the same time, by the way. The whole story, it has been mentioned here by hieroglyphics, and after that, we will see here, this is the arrival of the whole procession. Don't worry. So over here, by the way, you will see this is the arrival of the whole procession. I think you do 2 days sailing by your own flukas. So while the fluka is going to be docked, they must close the sail. But if you look carefully here, you will see that they stretch the sail in order to tell us that this is here the arrival of the whole procession. But if we move over there, we will see that the whole sail is going to be closed, and the head of the pilots is going to open the first sail to start the journey back to Luxor. So this is here the arrival, and we know that this is the arrival from the reception. But for you, it's going to be easily to recognize that here we still have the sail is open, and the rowers here, they're going to rowing in order to reach it to the main harbor of Edfu city. Let's go over there to see the difference between the arrival and the departure. Look at here, the sail is closed. What does it mean? That means they are waiting. They're waiting for the festival in order to be ended. And here, when they decided in order to return back, you see that the head of the pilot is going to open the sail in order to give, to announce for the good boats to open their sails to start the journey back to Luxor. This is the difference between the arrival and the return. If you look to the ceiling above here, you see that the ceiling has been destroyed as a result of the bathroom, which has been erected above the temple, because inside the ancient houses, including a lot of bathrooms, affected up on the ceiling. And I mentioned, but you see the downstairs beam is still giving a lot of inscriptions inside. This is the inner court, which has been dedicated for the nobles to do their prayers. And if you come closer a little bit, here you want to know that the crown is very strong here. That is crown up on the right side. Lotus. The third one equal to the third one, open papyrus. The fourth one, palm leaf, equal to the fourth one. This is the cemetery which has been appeared during the Greco-Roman period. And this is the fourth point, the fourth difference, and the last one between the ancient Egyptian temple and the Greek-Roman temple. Because in Luxor and Karnak, you will see that the ancient Egyptian people, they use only two main kind of capitals for the column. The first one is going to be a closed papyrus, and the second one is going to be open lotus flower. So 134 columns in Karnak temple, in the hypostyle hall of Karnak temple, you will see that they use only two main kinds of crowns over there. Also in Luxor, also two main kinds of crowns, nothing more. But during the Greek-Roman period, you will see open lotus and open papyrus, you know. Closed lotus and closed papyrus, you will see palm leaf, you will see planet columns, and mixed between lotus and papyrus, as you will see over there. This column, the third one, the second one here is mixed between lotus and papyrus. So let's go inside. The hypostyle hall of Edfu temple, including 12 columns. And look at the capitals of the column, they're still keeping a lot of colors. And the downstand beam also keeping a lot of colors until now. But the most important part is going to be this small room here. This one, it has been used as a library, considered to be the library of the temple. So this is here a roll of papyrus, not incommon. Here it's a roll of papyrus, and here inside you will see two niches, one on the right side and one on the left side over here. Those two niches in order to keep the most important sheets of papyrus, which including the sacred hymns, sacred fragments, and also the sacred plan of the temple, because as we mentioned, the temple is supposed to be divided in between the ancient Egyptian levels of the ancient Egyptian hierarchy. Also it's supposed to be including the plan of the royal tombs. The plan of the royal tombs is supposed to be located here, and this room wasn't allowed any persons to be inside it except the king or his high priest. The other one over there, we call it a roving room. It has been dedicated for the purification rituals for the pharaohs before they are going to enter here or going inside the sanctuary. But also this room, it wasn't allowed to any persons to be inside except the king or his high priest, because it's including a lot of important sheets of papyrus. Let's be inside. And his wife Hassan and the child Horus But if you come closer inside, so you will hear that the workers of the peasants are going to collect the flowers from these baskets. After that, they succeed to separate different flowers, and they are going to grinding it by using the wooden machine. And they will collect incense inside some alabaster jars. After that, they will close it. They will close it well in order to keep it under the sands for 3 months. And after they succeed to keep it for 3 months, you are going to bring it from the sands after it succeeds to get concentrated in order to start using it in front of the gods. If you turn your faces, you will see behind you, those are 250 different kinds of perfumes. It had been used by the ancient Egyptian people. The main base for the whole perfume is going to be the lotus perfume. Did you see the lotus? Over here on the middle, this is the lotus flower. And look at here, this is the mouth, which we call it R by hieroglyphics on phonetics. In language R, but in mass that mean plus. So addish and addish, those are two addish, 2 ounces from this perfume, giving us this new kind of perfume. Keep adding 31 ounces, 10 and 10 and 10, 30, and 131 ounces from dua perfume. After that, keep adding those kind. Keep adding a perfume to each, to another, is going to give us a new one. So those are 250 different kinds of perfumes have been used by the ancient Egyptian people and divided into 3 main groups. The first one is going to be, by the way, the perfumes which we use it in our daily life, and the second one is going to be aromatherapy perfume. The third one, some perfumes, they decided to use it during the mummification ritual, such as cedar wood oils and so on, and those perfumes and those incense were responsible about giving the yellow colors for the mummies. I think you visited the Egyptian Museum in Cairo. Did you visit it?
We were going to.
Yes, and in your way back to Cairo, you will visit the Egyptian Museum, and on the second floor there is a mummy's wall over there. You will see that this is the most well-preserved mummies in all over Egypt, and is still keeping the yellow colors as a result for using those kinds of perfumes. So take your shots and let's go.
No, I think it's really cool.
This is the attitude offering the temple to the gods. Sunday was every other one Look at the very last and try to figure out if Horus accepted the new house or not. Sorry. Horus accepted the new house before the
Yeah, I think it's good, really good.
How can we get it? The God accepted the new temple or the new house or not? Look at the ground. The Pharaoh is back again to the land. What is he doing? He's praying. The first service in any new temple should be performed by the
You will see the king coming out from the gate of his royal palace, and the king is portrayed in a big size if you compare it by the high priest, as we saw in Kamambo. And the high priest also reading a palm for his king, and he's going to burn some incense in the front of the king and the flagstaff. After that, you will see this is the goddess Hathor, the main wife for the god Horus, collecting the king in order to introduce him to the god Horus, the lord of the city. And here you will see the foundation or the first state from the foundation of the temple. You will see the king facing the goddess Seshat. Seshat is the goddess of measurements by the ancient Egyptian people, with her five verse hornet, and you will see that the goddess Seshat, she was responsible about determining the 4 corners of the temple, and the king helping her. After she tells the king where he's going to building his temple, you will see that the king after that is going to bring in a lot of sands in order to start to higher shape the shape of the whole area of the temple. After that, the king he succeed to bring in the blocks of the sandstone from the main quarry for the sandstone, which is located in between Kamambo and Edfou in an area called Jabal Silsila. And finally, you will see the king is going to be placed from the god Horus. And over here at the second side, the second side from the gate is going to be placed from the goddess Hathor. And finally, the king offering his temple in an oval shape, which we call it a cartouche, because he wished immortal and eternity for his temple. And this is what happened until now, because the temple considered to be the most well-preserved temple. Look at the face hands and the legs had been scratched, as we mentioned, as a result for the conflict between the early Christians and the ancient Egyptian gods. Because as we mentioned, that the early Christian people, they believed, or the main conflict between the Christianity and the ancient Egyptians, that the Christians, they believed in only one God whom considered to be Jesus the Christ, but the ancient Egyptians, by the way, they believed in several gods. So let's go inside.
4, 5, 6. Look at the layers of the robes they are wearing, the layer of the sandals, the layer of the arms, sandals, 6 rows of priests, each row of 1. Discovering the sanctuary, we found the originally festival poles.
And he decided to transport it to Louvre, museum in France, and he made for us a replica. So this one is not originally one. The originally one is still until now in Louvre Museum, and this is a replica that has been erected by Uetyeset-Heru in order to be located inside the sanctuary. And look at the 4 gates, two from the front and 2 from the back of the boat or the back of the chapel, in order to hide the statue of the local god inside it. And there is a granite house considered to be the private house for the god Horus, and topped by a pyramid peak in order to referring to the original spot which had been appeared from the whole world as the mythology of the creation by the ancient Egyptian people. After that, you will see, by the way, here a small chapel dedicated for the garden. The mother for the 4 children, Isis, Osiris, Seth, and Nephthys. You will see the representation of the goddess Nut on the ceiling. Looks like that. A woman leaning her hands and her body above the earth to protect her 4 children. But tomorrow, in your excursion to the West Bank or to the Valley of the Kings, you will see a second representation for the goddess Nut. Looks like that, but she's going to swallow the sun, and the sun is going to make a journey inside her body until she will giving birth to the sun at the beginning of the 2nd day, to referring to the journey of the sun under the ground. Because ancient Egyptian people imagine that after the sun is going to be disappeared on the West Bank, the sun is going to make a journey under the ground until it will be reached to the east side again. Because of this reason, you will see a lot of snakes, strange snakes. You will see sometimes above the walls of the tombs a representation for a snake with 3 heads. Another snake, 3 heads with 2 wings and 4 legs. Another one with a snake with a human head. So you will see this is the imagination of the ancient Egyptian people for the sun journey under the ground, because it's not logic that somebody will succeed to collect the sun on her private journey each night and return back to our life, except one person, considered to be Osiris, after he had been killed for the first time by his evil brother Osiris. So if you concentrate well, you will see there is a space between her hands and her legs, and the space divided by this line into 2 main parts. The right part including 6 poles, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And on the other part also there is another 6 poles. In the middle of each pole there is a solar disk. Those are the 12 hours of the day. You will see here the representation of the first hour. If you concentrate well, you will see a human body with the beetle or the scarab head, and the beetle pushing the sun to be rise. Did you know that? So why? Why they use the beetles? Because the ancient Egyptian people, they saw that the beetles coming from the dung of the animals. They imagined that the beetles creating themselves by themselves. They didn't understand that the beetles keeping their eggs under the dung, because of to get warmer in order to be delivered, to take the circle of the life. Because of this reason, they connected with the creator God Ra, who had the opportunity to create himself by himself. So the beginning hour of the new day, you will see that the ancient Egyptian people portrayed the sun to look like a beetle, and the beetle pushing the sun to be rise. This is the first hour, the second, third, fourth, fifth, sixth, seventh, eighth, 9, 10, 11, 12. Look at the last hour. Look inside the solar disk. You will see an old man with a bent back, you know, over here, and catching a stick, in order to referring that the sun is going to be disappeared on the west bank. Looks like an old man waiting for his death. So it's an important representation, because this is the 12 hours of the day, and you will see the representation of the 12 hours of the night in your excursion to the body of the kings, while you will see the goddess not swallow the sun, and the sun making a journey inside her body until she was giving birth to the sun again. This is the journey of the sun during the 12 hours inside the body of the goddess Nut. So let's go inside. Some offering to the god Osiris. You saw and feel like the god Osiris also up on a step. You know what? You will see the representation of the god Osiris up on the ancient Egyptian temples and ancient Egyptian tombs with a step, because he had been killed twice. And as a result, for the mummification ritual, we know that we use natural salt. Those kind of salts had the opportunity to absorb it, the whole liquid from the tissues of the body. So the body is going to be shrunken a little bit. So the ancient Egyptians, they used this step in order to rise or to give the same size or the same height for the god Osiris. So this is the god Osiris, and you will see his body wrapped with the white linen. Behind him, his ugly sister, because as we know, those were two sisters. The pretty one, Isis. The two brothers, they fighting together, whom will won the heart of the goddess or the pretty sister Isis or the goddess Isis, until Isis chose Osiris, and the ugly sister. This is the first appearance in front of your eyes for the ugly sister. We know Isis with a chair, but her sister Nephthys with a private crown looks like a glass of wine here. After that, you will see those are the four sons of the god Horus. We call them the four canopic gods. The first one with the human head, the second one with the monkey head, the third one with the jackal head, the fourth one with the falcon head. So in your excursion to the Egyptian Museum in Cairo, you will see four canopic gods in Tutankhamun treasures. Those four canopic gods, four alabaster gods that have been dedicated in order to keep the four important organs inside the body. It's considered to be intestines, stomach, livers, and lungs. Each one is going to be protected in a private alabaster guard, and it's supposed to be covered with those four heads, the four sons of the child of the god Horus. The first one with the human head, the second one with the monkey head, the third one with the jackal head, the fourth one with the falcon head. Because of this reason, this is considered to be the most important storerooms. If you look inside the second one on the corner, you will see a crypt. This crypt also has been dedicated to carry or to hide the treasures inside it, as we saw in Komombo, the crypt over there in the corner in front of you, covered with a steel net. Yes, exactly. Look at the ceiling also here. And inside you will see a blue color with white stars. Inside I think you will see a blue color with red star. White color with red stars. Come closer. It's a 9 meter if you would like to keep, if you would like to look. We will see. After that, you will see that the God sculptor, he can't even do some time. He's telling the story to the child Horus, whom preparing himself while preparing his harpoon, and behind him his mother's eyes is supporting him. After that, you will see that the trumpet is apart out of the river Nile. Right? Because of this reason, you will see the representation of the evil uncle. It looks like a hippo. And sometimes looks like a crocodile, sometimes also looks like a human being, and the fourth one looks like a snake. But look at the hippo here, and the child Horus, he would like to controlling him. Behind Horus, you will see his wife Hathor supporting him. You will see the same scene is going to be repeated with various gods supporting the child Horus until we reach the end. Yes,
there were a lot of holes in that wall.
A lot of holes. They're making some restrictions.
Oh, is that what's going on? So they
Yes,
take a
this
block out
hole.
of the
Yes,
storage.
of course. They're making some restrictions. So some archaeologists working in between the walls of the temple and the enclosure walls, and they decided to study, you know, the strengths of the walls. Yes, of course. And they used to dig these holes in order to study the strengths of the holes after triple earthquakes happened exactly since 6 years ago. So they covered it after that with some mud. There is some mud inside.
Oh,
Yes, inside there is some mud. Yeah. Any more comments? This way. Also over here you will see the human representation for the ankle. They succeed to fly. And if you come over here, you will see that they close the tail and his mother's eye is sitting in the front of the boat, controlling the evil ankle. Looks like a hippo. And on the second register here looks like a crocodile. It had been scratched. Crocodile, hippo, human beings over there. And if you come closer a little bit, it looks like a snake over here. Those are the four main representations for the evil uncle. So over here it looks like a snake.
لا ولا ثاني كذا كان الأفواه
And finally, you will see the child Horus is going to be received. Is going to be he reached to the main harbor, and his wife Hathor is going to be rewarding him by the 2 big rattles. There is 6 women rejoicing and celebrating upon drums by the great victory of the child Horus. And here this is the judgment, or the final judgment for the evil brother. You will see the child Horus controlling the evil uncle, and behind him his mother Isis with the chair above the solar disk, as we mentioned. But the amazing thing inside this judgment that you will see the evil brother facing the good brother Osiris. Look at Osiris facing his evil brother, and those are the 9 gods by the ancient Egyptian people, the main 9 gods leading the judgment. And the good gods, he took an order to kill the evil brother, but the good brother he refused. Why? Because he's a good brother? No, because the main aim of our life is depending upon the conflict between evil and goodness, depending upon rearranging the balance between evil and goodness. So can you imagine that our life is dedicated for the goodness belongs to not a lie?
Mais pourquoi l'hippopotame qui était vaincu, il est devenu gros comme ça?
Life, because the life depending upon rearranging the balance between both of them. In some boxes they mentioned that the evil symbol has been killed according to the carving over there. We will see the carving if you come closer.
Au Dieu de ton Père, si il va présenter l'hippopotame tout petit, là, c'est ridicule. Les gens ils vont dire que c'était normal qu'il soit vainqueur contre un ennemi qui est tout petit. Mais quand il a présenté tout gros, c'est pour dire qu'il a fait tout petit. Son adversaire,
Upon the back of the people. So a lot of people imagine, and a lot of boxes mention that they're going to be killing him. But I'd like to ask you, sorry, it's a silly question. If we would like to kill an animal, we would kill him from the neck or from the back. So what's happened here? Yes, taming him. They would like to taming him in order to obey the order, not killing him, because as you will see in the front of or inside the sanctuary of Luxor, you will see there is 7 buffaloes that going to be slaughtered from the neck up on the honor of the god Amon-Ra. Those are the numbers that have been mentioned here.
Donc, pour glorifier sa victoire devant les gens du peuple, devant les yeux des gens du peuple, et en même temps devant les yeux des gens
Number 10. 100,000, 10,000, 100,000, and this is million. Take your shots for those numbers. It's a very important carving here. 1, 10, 100,000, 10,000, 100,000, and million. Those are the numbers by the ancient Egyptian people. And now we finish our explanation, so you will have a free time. 15 minutes is enough? 15? Yeah? Or you need 20? 15 minutes? So we will meet each other outside and be waiting in the front of the coffee shop, outside in the front of the main exit, waiting for you. After 15 minutes.